Singapore, 4:17 a.m., September 21st, 2008. In a corner of Temasek Holdings, Singapore's sovereign wealth manager, a man stares at three screens glowing with numbers that no longer make sense. His name is Michael Lim, and for 37 hours straight, he has watched what economists call a black swan event, and what traders call the end of the world. Lehman Brothers has collapsed. Credit markets are freezing globally. On his left screen, the Straits Times Index charts a waterfall decline. On the center screen, his proprietary algorithm flashes red. Every correlation it learned over a decade of stable markets has shattered. On his right, a Bloomberg terminal scrolls with panic from Tokyo to London to New York. Michael has 47 minutes until the Singapore Exchange opens. He manages a $2.1 billion sovereign wealth fund portfolio. His mandate: preserve capital, generate returns, maintain Singapore's financial stability. Three objectives that, this morning, are mutually exclusive. He has received 3 calls in the last hour. The first from his deputy. The London desk says sell everything. Cut losses now before it gets worse. The second from his wife. Your father's at the hospital. They think it's a stroke. You need to come. The third from a senior minister. We're watching the situation. Do what's necessary. 3 calls. 3 competing realities. 1 decision. Most models of human behavior would frame Michael's choice as a conflict between selfish and selfless, between professional and personal, between fear and duty. These are 2-dimensional maps trying to chart 3-dimensional terrain. They fail because they miss what's actually happening inside him. Not a battle between good and evil, but a navigation along 3 invisible axes that govern every consequential human choice. 1884. Edwin Abbott wrote a novella called Flatland, about geometric beings living in a 2-dimensional world who cannot comprehend the reality of a 3rd dimension. When a sphere from Spaceland passes through their plane, they perceive only a circle that mysteriously grows and shrinks. We are all Flatlanders when it comes to understanding human behavior. For centuries, we've tried to map people along simple binaries: good, evil, liberal, conservative, selfish, altruistic, emotional, rational. Psychology gives us the big 5 personality traits. Politics gives us left-right spectrums. Business gives us leadership quadrants. These models aren't wrong, they're merely incomplete. They show us the growing and shrinking circle, not the sphere passing through. What if the sphere, the true architecture of human decision, has 3 dimensions, not 2? Let me show you what I mean through Michael's decision. But first, let's travel to a very different crisis. Kyoto, 1582. Honami Koetsu, master sword polisher and connoisseur, examines a blade brought to him by a samurai whose lord has just been assassinated. The samurai needs to know, should he commit junshi, following his lord in death, with this sword, or should he use it to avenge him? Koetsu doesn't speak of honor or duty in abstract terms. He speaks of 3 qualities that must align in the blade, and in the man who wields it. 1. Toki no nagare, the flow of time in the steel's temper. 2. Kokoro no narai, the aim of the heart in its forging. 3. Mish, the way or principle in its use. A blade forged for immediate combat, short-time horizon, will fail in a prolonged campaign. A blade forged for display, optimized for beauty experience, will shatter in battle. A blade used without principle becomes merely a murder tool. Koetsu was describing, in the language of his craft, what we can now define precisely. Axis. A. Temporal horizon. How far into the future your decisions extend. Axis B. Optimization driver. What outcome you're fundamentally trying to maximize. Axis C. Moral enforcement style. How you justify harm, power, and rules. Every human decision, from a CEO's billion-dollar bet to a parent's discipline of a child, exists at the intersection of these 3 coordinates. The first axis. Time as a substance. Back to Michael in Singapore. His first conflict is temporal. His London desk says sell now. This is zero horizon thinking. The market is crashing this minute. Liquidate positions immediately. The future has collapsed into an urgent, screaming present. Time isn't a continuum, it's a pinprick of now. His father in the hospital represents something else entirely. If he leaves, he might see his father before he dies. This is finite horizon thinking, the scale of a human lifetime, of relationships, of careers. It balances immediate needs, get to the hospital, with medium-term consequences, abandoning his post during a historic crisis. The minister's call contains a different time signature. Do what's necessary. Not for today's trading session, not for Michael's career, for Singapore's stability. This is eternal horizon thinking. Concerned with systems, legacy, civilizational continuity beyond any individual lifespan. Here's what most models miss. Michael isn't choosing between three options. He's navigating between three experiences of time itself. Research insight. Neuroeconomist Dr. Tan Lei from the Nanyang Technological University has shown through fMRI studies that when subjects make decisions with different time horizons, they literally activate different neural networks. Zero-horizon decisions light up the amygdala and insula, threat and visceral response. Finite horizon decisions engage the prefrontal cortex's central executive network. Eternal horizon thinking activates both the prefrontal cortex and the default mode network, the same network involved in imagining others' perspectives and long-term narrative thinking. Time horizon isn't about intelligence or patience. It's about which neural reality you inhabit in the moment of decision. The second axis. What are you actually optimizing for? Let's freeze Michael's temporal dilemma and examine the second dimension. If he sells everything immediately, zero horizon, what is he optimizing for? Experience optimization would be about the visceral relief of ending the uncertainty, the adrenaline of decisive action, perhaps even the dramatic story he'd tell later. The day I saved the fund from total ruin. Survival optimization would be about preserving capital at all costs, following protocol, avoiding personal blame, the structural defense of both the portfolio and his career. Meaning optimization would be trickier here, but it might manifest as doing what a responsible fund manager should do, fulfilling his professional identity even at great cost. But notice, the same action, selling, can stem from different optimization drivers. This is why analyzing behavior without understanding its optimization driver is like diagnosing an engine by listening to its sound without knowing what fuel it's burning. Historical parallel. During the 14th century Majapahit Empire's expansion across the Malay archipelago, Prime Minister Gajah Mada faced a similar optimization dilemma when suppressing a rebellion in Sunda. He could, 1. Make a spectacular example, experience, maximize terror and recognition. 2. Secure the territory with minimal loss, survival, maximize stability. 3. Integrate the Sundanese into the Majapahit vision of unity, meaning, maximize cosmological order. He chose a brutal massacre at the Battle of Bubit, a decision historians still debate. Was it experience optimization, personal glory, survival optimization, deterring future revolts, or meaning optimization, enforcing the unity of Nusantara? The action alone doesn't tell us. The optimization driver does. The third axis, the justification engine, now the most subtle dimension. However Michael decides, he will need to justify it to himself and others. Self-justifying morality. I did what was best for me, my team, my family. This isn't necessarily evil, it's bounded by loyalty. He might justify abandoning his post for his father with, family comes first. Anyone would understand. Contextual morality. Given this unprecedented crisis in my father's condition, the most pragmatic solution is, this is flexible, situational ethics. He might split the difference, stay but send his wife with specific instructions. Principled morality. My duty is clear regardless of circumstances. This is consistent, rule-based. He would stay at his post, period. The principle, financial stewards don't abandon during crises, matters more than the particulars. Here's the critical insight from our model. These axes are independent but interacting. You can have zero horizon plus principled. I must follow this rule right now. Eternal horizon plus. Self-justifying. My vision for the future justifies anything for my people. Finite horizon plus. Contextual. The realm of most practical leadership. The decision revealed. So what did Michael Lim do? He stayed, but not with the frozen rigidity of pure principle. He called his wife, guided her through what to tell the doctors based on his father's medical history. Finite horizon plus survival optimization plus contextual morality applied to family. Then he turned back to the screens. When the market opened, he didn't sell everything. Instead, he executed a carefully sequenced unwinding of only the most vulnerable positions, while using sovereign capital to provide liquidity for other Singaporean institutions. Finite to eternal horizon plus survival optimization for the system, plus contextual morality with principled guardrails. His father survived. The fund lost 11% that quarter, but gained back 23% the next year when markets recovered. Other funds that sold everything locked in permanent losses. But here's what's fascinating. When interviewed later, Michael gave 3 different justifications to 3 different audiences. To his team, we followed the contingency protocols, survival plus contextual. To his family, I knew Dad would want me to do my job. meaning plus principled. To the minister, we prevented systemic contagion. Eternal plus survival, was he being dishonest? Or was he accurately describing the multidimensional reality of his decision? The bimodal reality. Our model reveals something uncomfortable. Most of us are not consistent on these axes. We're bimodal or even trimodal. Consider the Jakarta street vendor who spends her days in zero-horizon bargaining, experience optimization, contextual morality, but invests every surplus rupiah in her daughter's education with eternal horizon determination, survival, meaning optimization, principled morality. Or the Silicon Valley founder who operates with zero-horizon blitzscaling aggression, experience, self-justifying, while meticulously building an endowment for environmental restoration, eternal, meaning, principled. We contain multitudes. The question isn't, what type are you, but which configuration activates in which context. The Asian insight. Western models of psychology and ethics often assume individualism as the default. Our model is culture agnostic, which makes it particularly revealing in collectivist Asian contexts. In Singapore's Kampong spirit, community-first ethos, you'll often see eternal, finite horizon blend, thinking for generations, survival optimization for the group contextual morality that appears principled, because the context is the group's survival. Compare this to the zero horizon, experience optimized, self-justifying, cowboy capitalism of certain Western financial centers during the 2000s credit boom. Neither is inherently superior on all axes. Each configuration has strengths and vulnerabilities. The Kampong spirit might resist innovation. The cowboy capitalism might destroy trust. The takeaway. We began with Michael's crisis and end with a fundamental recalibration of how we see human behavior. The next time you witness someone making a decision you don't understand, a leader's seemingly cruel pragmatism, a parent's paradoxical discipline, a nation's baffling policy, ask 3 questions. 1. What time horizon are they operating in? Is this about right now, this year, or the next century? 2. What are they truly optimizing for? Sensation, safety, or significance? 3. How are they justifying it? For their benefit, for the situation, or for a rule? You'll discover that what looks like irrationality is usually rationality operating on different coordinates. What looks like evil is often survival optimization on a zero horizon. What looks like weakness is sometimes meaning optimization on an eternal horizon. In the chapters ahead, we'll see how this 3-dimensional map explains why morality emerges even in prison gangs, why stress turns some people into heroes and others into perpetrators, why some civilizations collapse while others endure for millennia, and why you might be living the wrong life for your actual axis configuration. But first, we must answer the most profound question this model raises. If people can be good or evil, depending on their coordinates, where does morality itself come from? That discovery begins in an unexpected place, not in a temple or a courtroom, but in the chaotic ports of medieval merchants, where the first moral codes emerged from sheer, brutal necessity.